Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. I'm Hannah Newhouse, joined each and every week by my co-host of Kyle Rickey, where we bring you short track racing news across the country and internationally. And this time of year, well, we start to run out of things to talk about because we've crowned champions across the country, across the coast, and of course, at your local short track. But this upcoming weekend, Kyle, the ARCA West Series, it's finally time to crown their champion. Out at Phoenix, they'll kick off the festivities. And for the first time in a long time, you know, we have not one, not two, but realistically 6 to 7 drivers that have a title shot.
Yeah, the Arizona Lottery 100 for the ARCA West in Phoenix. And the top 5 in points are separated by 6 points. Jesse Love has a 1-point lead over Paul Petroncelli. Jake Drew, 3rd in points, 3 points back. Joey East is 4th, 5 points back. Cole Moore is 5th in the championship standings, 6 points back. And anyone can win because of the car count. And we talk about every position is worth a point. Well, if you have a bad opening lap and you're one of those guys, you could finish potentially 36 because there are 36 cars on the entry list. I know we talked the last couple of weeks about some of the East drivers and some of the ARCA Menard Series drivers making the trek west. And a driver that we're going to talk to here in a little bit, Ty Gibbs, is going to be one of them. He won the ARCA Menard Series race there back in the spring, looking to double down. Drew Dollar, Gracie Trotter, Nick Sanchez, Daniel Dye, Taylor Gray, just a few of the names that are on a very impressive entry list for this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. That even opens up for, you know, a couple others in points. Trevor Huddleston, like you said, is 15 back. Todd Souza is 26 back. But with the car count, statistically, it is possible for those two to also have a shot at the championship. So going to be very interesting to watch. Going to be an exciting race. Always is kind of for that final race at Phoenix because, again, you get a lot of the guys that have finished their East or their Menard Series seasons, and then they want to go out to race out in Phoenix. So 3 p.m. on Saturday, it'll kick things off on NBC Track Pass. MRN will also have lap-by-lap coverage, so you can tune in there as well. You'd mentioned Daniel Dye, just some quick news there. He did go ahead and announce he will be racing for the ARCA Menard Series Championship with GMS next year. So change of teams for Daniel Dye, going for that full-time championship. And we will have Ty Gibbs on after the break to talk about his ARCA Menard Series championship that he crowned at Kansas. But of course, we've got your iRacing update presented by Logitech G. We want to send a big congratulations again to Keegan Leahy. He won his first eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series championship this year with a total purse of more than $300,000 in play for the season. Kyle, I think you and I think we're in the wrong business. Let's just put it that way. Leahy took home the championship share of $100,000 by taking the checkered flag. The championship was the first for 2311 Racing, who concluded their first season in the series. 2311 also clinched the team championship. You can go to iRacing.com for all of the latest news, featured videos, and more information on the world of iRacing. This iRacing update is brought to you by Logitech G. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Ty Gibbs.
Whelan Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelan also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelan product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelan Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Gamers, start your engines. Meet the next generation of racing wheels. The award-winning Logitech G design is re-engineered to dial into your game physics, delivering unprecedented realism. Feel every shift, drift, and hairpin turn like never before. Our latest innovation in force feedback technology connects directly to endgame simulation engines and physics to produce higher fidelity, real-time responses. Through design, engineering, and the love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Go to logitechg.com.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. We talked about the ARCA West Series crowning a champion this upcoming weekend, but the ARCA Menard Series crowned their champion a few weeks ago at Kansas, and that champion of Ty Gibbs joins us now on the guest line. First off, Ty, congratulations on that championship. Has it set in that you are the ARCA Menard champion yet?
Yeah, for sure. It's been super cool to be able to, experience being a champion. This is the first time I've, been one in my career. So it's really special, to me and my whole organization. They've been chasing it for, a good amount of time the last couple of years. So to be able to get it feels awesome.
Well, we talk all year. It's a 20 race schedule, one of the most diverse schedules in motorsports: road courses, short tracks, super speedways, dirt tracks, intermediate tracks. You had one finish outside of the top four all year, and that was with the incident at Talladega. Outside of that, you were for the most part on the podium or one spot off. How? What is the key to that consistency with all of those different type of racetracks, and you've adapted so well?
Yeah, I know. I feel like just, like you said, just trying to be consistent. I feel like that's the biggest key. When you're championship racing is, it's definitely really hard. It's hard or it's easy to be the rabbit chasing, but when you're the bunny or you're, the carrot, you're sitting out front and you got to be able to defend. And I feel like that's the biggest, part of being consistent. And I feel like that's what's, helped me learn a lot about, racing for a championship in this kind of way.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that we're seeing come into play, of course, at the higher levels of NASCAR right now, being able to withstand that pressure of championship racing. That being said, midway through the season, Kyle and I seem to talk about it each and every week. At one point, it was you, then Corey Heim, then you, then Corey Heim. Was there ever kind of a moment in your mind where there was a little bit of concern racing for this championship?
Yeah, I mean, after I feel like we got moved for the win at Elko, I feel like that was I was kind of concerned. I was like, is this how we're gonna race? And I feel like, kind of after that, I feel like just keep my head down and trying to get as best finishes as I can. I think that was the biggest thing that's helped me kind of get through that. I feel like we were really strong at places where we know they weren't strong on teammates, and places where they did have teammates helped. So, it was kind of a good battle. I feel like I learned a lot for myself, but it was nice to, beat and win the championship.
We talked about the points and the battle with you and Corey every other week. It seemed like throughout, especially the summer months, June, July, August, that flip flop quite a bit. Are you one to sit down and analyze points week to week?
Not really. I know, I feel like, it's good to know how much you're up by or down by, but I feel like just going out there and like I said, just working during the week and do the best you can in the weekends is, the biggest key to success. I feel like in these events, and kind of this code racing still. So, I feel like just, taking time to work hard at it. I feel like it's your best chance of winning.
Speaking of keys to success, we often talk to drivers that are balancing schedules with super late models and maybe some truck starts, or, super late models in ARCA, but you had a schedule that consisted of balancing ARCA and Xfinity, which I would say are probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, two of the more similar cars in the instance of balancing. Do you feel like the success that you kind of had in ARCA projected you to a little bit more instantaneous success in Xfinity?
I feel like that. I feel like for sure on that. I feel like, running a super late model when I'm in a big car, and I'll never run any straight roll car for the rest of my life. I don't think that would help me out one bit. So I feel like for me, I feel like that would be a waste of my time. I feel like just getting in something I'll always be in for the rest of my life. Hopefully, I feel like that's the biggest key. And the bigger, heavier cars, which I hadn't had as much experience in. I feel like that was the biggest key, just getting as much experience I can. So being able to run the ARCA and Xfinity, their downforce wise are not really close, but the way the chassis are, I feel like are pretty close. So you kind of a feeling for it. So I feel like that was the biggest thing for me, just to be able to get more time and, something heavier, not too light.
Did your early and now frequent success in Xfinity, including a win just a couple of weeks ago in Kansas, did it surprise you at all with how deep the competition is in the Xfinity series?
It definitely surprised me for sure. It was nice to be able to, on my first win, it was nice to be able to go and win that one. And then after that, I feel like we were competitive for the next couple of weeks, because I think we finished second, then we were fifth. So we were like really competitive, and I feel like, we could be able to go out and have chances to win, and we did. And to be able to have 4 wins in the Xfinity series is, mind blowing for me, and I'm not full time. So it's super cool to be able to, have that. And I'm thankful and blessed for it.
And Kyle kind of mentioned it. Of course, the statistics from your ARCA series starts are in some instance kind of mind blowing. And then to back that up with your success in the Xfinity series, were there any challenges, or was there anything that you kind of maybe felt was a hindrance, or something that you really focused on working on this year?
I feel like the biggest thing was just keeping my head down. I feel like, you're going to have a lot of people, saying stuff, or you're going to be raised different ways sometimes. So I feel like just doing my own thing, my own program, just trying to focus on, making my craft better and being able to win, as much as I can. I feel like that was the biggest thing I learned. And I feel like it paid off.
I feel like you have an army of people there at JGR that you can lean on, go to, get some advice. Who were some of those folks that you were able to go to during the year and you trust and lean on the most?
I feel like, I've had a great group of people around me, and, I have close people that work with me. I feel like, they've helped me out a lot. Joe Crowley and Billy Phelps. I feel like, those are two people that go with me every weekend to the racetrack. So they've helped me out a lot. And, driver wise, I've had to ask a couple of questions, but not really too much on that. I think just more me studying off of, film and watching stuff and watching, what people do, or, what their plays are.
And it was cool to, of course, see the success, Sammy Smith at Bristol, yourself with the win, JGR and your guys' kind of ARCA team really, really making waves. Turning the focus to next year, what kind of is the focus? What are the goals next year?
I feel like for next year, and we're in the works of still figuring stuff out, and I hope our ARCA, program is be able to go and win again. I feel like next year, just trying to, like I said, hopefully we're running for some championship. I'd like to drive different things. There's a bunch of different things I would love to do. I feel like the biggest key is just winning. And I feel like if we can kind of do what we did this year, I feel like we'll be good next year.
How has life, I guess, changed for you? I mean, you're a full-time stock car driver. You're running for national championships, not only in ARCA, but you're winning races in Xfinity. That's a lot of travel. That's a lot of, you mentioned Joe a moment ago, probably a lot of appearances and sponsors type stuff. I mean, is it everything that you anticipated coming into this season?
I mean, I feel like for me and my plan, I feel like I can't anticipate anything. It's not my plan. It's God's plan, the whole program. So, I'm just along for the ride, and I really enjoy all of it. I'm very thankful and blessed. Like I said before, I feel like, there's stuff I've been learning, just kind of getting older and doing different things. So, but, for sure, it's awesome having my time at the track. But, I have my time at home and with my family and, my close personal things, my friends. So, it's a good way to balance. I feel like, I've learned how to balance it, and I feel like that's been, really nice for me to be able to kind of learn how to, handle that.
It's definitely been fun to watch. And again, Kyle and I, each and every week, I feel like we age ourselves when we talk about the accolades of some of these young drivers. And then we talk about your guys' ages, and it's absolutely insane to think about. But Ty, it's been so much fun to watch your success. Now a champion, within the record books of ARCA, NASCAR, and we're looking forward to seeing what you get to do next year.
Thank you, Hannah. Thanks for letting me come on, guys. It's always fun to come on.
Good luck in Phoenix this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll see you.
A big congratulations once again to Ty Gibbs, your 2021 ARCA Menard Series champion. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got the NASCAR Whelen Engineering Driver Spotlight.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, I did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Get back to NASCAR roots by driving headfirst into the new home of grassroots racing. Flow Racing keeps the original NASCAR tradition of dirt track racing roaring with more than 1,300 live and on-demand oval events from across the U.S. Learn how the next generation of NASCAR drivers is prospected in sprint car racing. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/GoMRN. That's FLORacing.com/GoMRN.
Time now for another Whelen Engineering Modified Driver Spotlight here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. And this week, we're going to talk to not only a driver, but also a promoter at the Stafford Motor Speedway. He wears multiple hats over the course of a race night at Stafford each and every Friday night throughout the summer months. David Arute joins us now. David, first off, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
A third generation promoter, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, growing up as a kid at the racetrack, what was it like for you? I guess you probably had no choice but to be interested in short track racing at your family facility there in North Central Connecticut.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty much not that we were forced to do it, but there was no other childhood really besides racing. And it's funny when I talk to my friends or my wife, they always like bring up childhood memories of like going here, going there. I'm like, no, it was just the racetrack. That's all we did. We came here on Fridays, worked as kids, came in Saturday mornings, picked up garbage, and went on for the next week. And it's awesome growing up here as a kid and seeing all the drivers and all the legends that grew up here and where they are now, and all the great racing over the years, and just getting to know everyone here. And it's a childhood that everyone that likes racing really wishes they could go through. And I would recommend it to anyone to go to a racetrack as a child and get involved. And it's awesome to grow up that way. You gain so many friends here at the races, and it's just a great life.
And I feel like all these years later, watching you and your brother Paul, the garbage detail is still very much part of the job description.
Yeah, unfortunately it still is, but we got to get it done and get the place cleaned up and ready, turned around for the next event.
So you also drive at Stafford, and
Yep.
For you, your career started like I feel like everybody in the pits on Monday nights, part of the Wild Thing Karts program. How'd you become involved? What got you interested in the driving aspect of it?
So actually, when the go-karts first started here, me and my brother weren't going to race. We were there. Go-karts needed a place to race after, I think it was Poughkeepsie shut down. And they came here, and me and my brother sat in the stands. This was 15 years ago now. And we were watching them test, and we're like, oh, that's really cool. Mom and Dad, we wish we could do that. And of course, they're like, oh, we don't want you to get involved with actually racing. We want you guys to just be the promoters. They didn't say that back then, and then it turned into me and my brother sharing a go-kart, and it just tumbled downhill from there, where we got 2 cars, 3 carts, and just kept moving up the ladder from there.
And talk about that progression for you. How much success did you find on Monday nights? And then what ultimately led to your transition to Friday night racing on the big track?
So I started off in Junior Outlaws, and it was actually me and my brother, and we were teamed up with the Casagrande brothers too at the time. And I was just the worst driver out there. I couldn't even figure out how to not finish last every week. And I wrecked a lot of stuff in go-karts every year I was in it. And I finally moved up to Senior Outlaws when I had figured it out kind of. And I got 8 wins that year, won a championship, then moved up to the streets, then Dare Stocks at the time, now Street Stocks. And from there, just kept moving up the ladder system from limited late models, SK Lights, and now into the SK Modifieds.
What brought you in the modified direction? Because your brother Paul went and is still racing with Fenders. You know, he did the limited late models and now has been in a late model for several seasons. You went the other route to the open wheels.
Actually, I really enjoyed the full Fender racing. I think I got 11 wins in the limited late models, and I was close to winning a couple of championships. And the night of the late model 50, before the race, me and my dad were talking about how I needed to move up. It has been 4 years in the limited. People were starting to complain that I was winning too much and doing good. So we're like, oh, let's move up to the late models. And that was the plan. And then the late model 50 went out, and it was 20 cars that race. And I think 5 finished. And we looked at each other like, we can't enter that. Like, we're going to get destroyed. We can't wreck cars every week. So that night we actually decided we're going to try open wheel. And that's when I went SK Light racing and searched around for a while to find a car, and actually went down to Waterford to test, because that was a great learning facility where you could get to know the car and possibly not have as much damage as wrecking here at Stafford.
You mentioned something a little bit ago about people were complaining that you won too much. Is that something that you've had to hear a lot over your career there? Because it is your family's racetrack, you're racing on property that your family owns and now you're very much a part of. Is that something that you have to hear a lot now as the promoter?
Well, it's a difficult subject. Obviously, with me and my brother racing and being the promoters, everyone thinks that we have a favoritism, and we're doing better because we get better products or better parts and stuff. And it's difficult to play both sides of the table. Over the years, I've figured out ways to make it where I can focus more on racing just on that Friday afternoon and get all the promoting and the prep work done for the speedway prior to that. And that helped out a lot. I'm not out there winning SK races. Yeah, I'm close, getting better, but the SK division being the premier division, you don't hear as much of that anymore because everyone knows all 25 cars that are here every Friday night put the same amount of effort in, working their tails off on the cars. And back in the limited days, street stocks, late models, even SK lights, there was a lot of people not happy with. We had a lot of good finishes. They'd say we're cheating or we get favoritism, and it's just tough to play that role because it kind of beats you up as a racer too. When you put a lot of effort and people just kind of knock it down as oh, you got handed that. And over the years, we've figured out a way to overcome it and just get tough skin. That's all it is.
You mentioned you've been close to victory lane, on the podium earlier this year. How would you kind of sum up your season thus far? Hard to believe we're just 4 or 5 weeks to go here in your season.
Yeah, it's coming down to the wire real quick here and only a few races left. But this year, I'm really happy with how the year's gone. We made a lot of gains over this year with consistency. And that's what the biggest thing was coming out of the winter. I just wanted to be consistent, be that guy that's fighting for the top 5. I know you can't show up and win every race here. There's 25 guys that could win here every week. And just to be in the top 5 or the top 10 consistently, you'll get to that point of the podium and potentially a win. And that's where we're at now, where last week I got a top 5, the week before it was 6, the week before it was 7. So we're fighting with those top 10 cars, top 6 cars every week. And we're right there, just need a little more every week, but we're figuring out a way to do it. And hopefully we could get one here, pull one off in the end. That'd be pretty awesome.
It is a true family affair there at the racetrack. Your parents, your mom and your dad, your brother, your wife, all part of what goes on at Stafford every week. What's that like, being able to work in a true family business?
I think it's just rewarding to know that we all work together to put out a product that so many people enjoy, not even that are just here at the Speedway on Friday nights, but that get to watch it on Flow Racing and to see all the people just talk about it on Twitter, Facebook, just emails, anything about how much they enjoy the facility for how much work we put in. It's really rewarding to see how we're all working together so well. Third generation. I mean, some people say that's when it starts to fall apart and everything, but it's been really good. And we're real happy with how it's going. This year has been great. Yeah, there's been a couple hiccups here and there, and the weather's been trying to fight us every week, but a whole family operation, it's awesome to have it like that and keep it that way.
How challenging, and you just alluded to it, have these last 2 years been? Last year, COVID derailed everything everywhere. Yeah. This year, we've heard a lot about, the Hoosier tire shortages. I mean, it's affected short track racing across the country. How have you guys been able to overcome everything that's been thrown at you guys the last 2 years?
Yeah, there's been a lot of curveballs, and we were at a very low when COVID happened and we were shut down because this is our business. Our income is Friday night racing and people coming through the gates. And when we couldn't do that, there was no income at the time. And we had to find ways to have enough income to keep the property going. I mean, there's still expenses here when we're not racing. Everyone knows that. They don't know how much, but there's still a lot of expenses. And we figured out ways to go about getting income with iRacing or selling apparel. And luckily our customers, our fans supported us by buying the apparel, going into iRacing, doing these type of activities that helped us keep afloat really during COVID. And then once we finally were able to work with the state, that was huge, open back up. And then the craziest thing was 1 year later after we opened post-COVID was that SRX event. And it was just complete night and day from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs of a packed facility, people enjoying themselves. And that was huge for us. And this year is just awesome. And we're able to work around the curveballs, which is difficult, but we'll find a way.
Now, you guys have no doubt done a great job each and every Friday night. What's race day like for you as one of the guys behind the scenes that keeps that place running week in and week out? And then obviously you're running in the track's premier division in the SK Modifieds. What is every Friday? What's your schedule look like?
Yeah, it really starts Thursday. That's what I think. And preparing myself for the race night is the biggest thing, getting everything in place facility-wise on Thursday. So come Friday morning, we don't have to worry about it. And getting my race car ready Thursday night and here on property. So then I don't have to worry about getting it here. But Friday morning, I get here around 6 and just start getting everything in place and checking everything, make sure everything's up and running, cleaning everything. It's just all over the place, really. And by the time 2 o'clock hits, I try to make sure everything is done and there's nothing we have to worry about. And that's when I start to get in race car mode. But there's never really a time where it's no promoting anymore. There's always times where we have to jump out of, both me and my brother, we have to jump out of our cars and go do something to help push the show along, help complete the experience for the fans. And it's difficult, but at times it's entertaining. It's fun. I enjoy it. And that's just like what we enjoy doing. And it's all part of the business.
And it's going to be pretty easy when, your full-time residence is right over your left shoulder there behind the back. You can almost walk to the racetrack from home. David, as always, thanks for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and best of luck to you guys these next 4 weeks as you wrap up the 2021 season.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
David Arute, our Whelen Engineering Modified Driver Spotlight here this week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Gamers, start your engines. Meet the next generation of racing wheels. The award-winning Logitech G design is re-engineered to dial into your game physics, delivering unprecedented realism. Feel every shift, drift, and hairpin turn like never before. Our latest innovation in force feedback technology connects directly to endgame simulation engines and physics to produce higher fidelity, real-time responses. Through design, engineering, and the love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Go to logitechg.com.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast. Over the weekend, the All-American 400 took place at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Obviously, one of the big key marker races in super late model races. And Kyle, it was a kid from my neck of the woods here in the Carolinas who got the job done.
Two-time Cars Tour champion, Matt Craig. First off, it took a while to get the weekend rolling with rain on Friday, rain on Saturday. They did it all on Sunday, and good for them to get it all complete at a decent hour as well. But Matt Craig held off Jackson Boone, who's a multi-time pro late model champion at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, most recently in 2019. Derek Griffith, Carson Quapple, Willie Antlin rounded out the top 5. Cole Williams, also a 2-time track champion in the pro late models, picked up the 100-lap pro late model race later, or I guess it was early in the day, as the super late models wrapped up today with their 300-lap event. So great, I was going to say race weekend, but a great race day at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on Sunday afternoon for the All-American 400.
Well, we crowned our Pinty Series champion. The NASCAR Peak Mexico Series, they don't crown a champion until the first weekend of December. But over the weekend, the NASCAR Euro Series finally wrapped up their season again. There's our split. I'm almost going to call it 2 seasons. They take that summer break off. So they were actually at NASCAR GP Italy where they crowned their champion. Loris Haseman was the pro champion, and Martin Dubeck, the NASCAR Euro Series 2 champion.
And a very familiar name in pro victory lane both days in Jacques Villeneuve, Formula One great, an Indy 500 champion. He has done so much in open wheel competition, made the move to stock cars just a couple of years ago and found the checkered flag not once, but twice. And hearing we might see him in a stock car in the States here in the coming years. So we'll see. As I think Loris Haseman in with a new Cup team here in a couple of years, looking to run part-time next year. And then, we'll see where that takes them years down the road. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series also announcing their calendar for next year. It'll open up on April 9th and 10th in Germany. 6 race weekends. For the first time, they're going to have a summer all-star race in Italy. Details are forthcoming. Also a new event called the Winter Classic. Details forthcoming. They'll round out the year in Croatia on October 29th and 30th for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, a division that seems to grow each and every year. Great car count this past weekend, and we expect more teams to join the program for next season.
Yeah, the ARCA Menard Series announced their 2022 schedule as well. They had hinted at the East and the West schedules coming in the next week or so as well. For the ARCA 2022 schedule, 20 races consisting of 19 different tracks. Of course, they usually kick it off, per usual, February 19th at Daytona. That championship race, though, is being moved. It was at Kansas this year. It is back at Toledo, so they will wrap their season up on October 8th. And some dates have been dropped, Kyle, for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Only a few so far that we know, but the return for the Modifieds to Langley on April 23rd. First time they've been there since 2018. And 3 Riverhead dates are on the schedule.
And that's kind of what we've seen the last couple of years with Riverhead Raceway on Long Island in New York. Usually that track and Thompson had hosted 2 to 3 a year. Riverhead retaining those 3 dates. Thompson back on the schedule next year. That was announced a couple of weeks ago. They're going to run a single event next August. So slowly but surely, dates becoming available on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Look forward to seeing the full schedule here when it's released. We probably believe in the next week or so.
Well, we look forward to having hopefully our ARCA West champion here on NASCAR Coast to Coast next week, as of course we just put the crown on the top of the series, the season, and NASCAR Coast to Coast, our final episode next week. So we'll talk to the champion next week. Look forward to it. Congratulations once again to Ty Gibbs on his ARCA Menard Series champion. I'm Hannah Newhouse for Kyle, Rickey, and producers Craig Moore. We'll see you guys next week here on the Motor Racing Network.